Hi friends, this is Preeti. Today I am going to discuss about recombinant DNA technology. The definition. It is defined as the series of procedures that are used to join DNA segment of different organisms and inserting it into a host organism to produce new genetic combination. It means combining the vector DNA, nothing but plasmid, and the foreign DNA which is isolated from the human cell. Tools of recombinant DNA technology. So in the previous videos we have discussed in detail about the tools used in recombinant DNA technology. The tools used are vectors, nothing but cloning vectors, restriction endonuclease, DNA ligase, polymerase enzymes, and host organism. So cloning vectors are used for the multiplication of the foreign DNA, and restriction endonuclease are used to cut the DNA sequence, DNA strands at the recognition sequences, nothing but palindrome sequences, and DNA ligase are used to join the two strands of DNA, both plasmid DNA and vector DNA, by forming a phosphodiester bond. So process of recombinant DNA technology. First step is isolation of the genetic material. Second, cutting of DNA at specific locations. Third, separation and isolation of DNA fragments. Fourth, insertion of isolated gene into a suitable vector. Fifth, insertion of recombinant DNA into the host cell. Sixth, selection of transformed host cells. And seventh one is collection of the product. Isolation of genetic material. Breakdown of cell wall by treating with lysozyme, cellulase, and chitinase. So lysozyme is the enzyme isolated from bacteria, and cellulase is isolated from plant cell, and chitinase is isolated from fungi. Next, dissolution of biological membrane with detergent, nothing but detergent lysis. Then the contents in the nucleus are treated with protease to destroy protein and ribonuclease to destroy RNA. So in the nucleus, not only DNA, along with the DNA there will be other substances like RNA and proteins. So to destroy protein we use proteases, and to destroy RNA we use ribonuclease. Then it is subjected to centrifugation. Then we'll get two parts, pellet and supernatant. Supernatant is the upper part and pellet is the lower part. It is the bottom one. Then the pellet will contain cell debris and supernatant contain the DNA. Then the purified DNA ultimately separate out after addition of chilled ethanol. So to the supernatant mixture we have to add chilled ethanol. Then we'll get a purified DNA. We can separate out the purified DNA. The DNA that separate out is removed by spooling. Spooling is nothing but pulling out the DNA from the mixture. And the next step is cutting of DNA at specific locations. The purified DNA is cut into a number of fragments by restriction endonuclease. So restriction endonuclease is the enzyme which identify the recognition sequence, nothing but palindrome sequence on both the plasmid DNA and the foreign DNA, and it cut at those sites. So the target DNA as well as vector DNA are cut with same restriction enzymes. Because the restriction endonuclease has a unique recognition sequence. So both the DNAs should be cut with same enzyme. If we cut with different enzymes, then the two enzymes will identify different recognition sequence on the DNA, and so that we cannot insert the foreign DNA, the target DNA, into the plasmid. So those two will not attach. Then the next step is separation and isolation of DNA fragments. The fragments are separated by a technique known as gel electrophoresis. So these fragments are separated based on their size. And the separated fragments can be visualized by staining with ethidium bromide followed by exposure to UV light. So the extraction of fragments from the gel piece is known as elution. Next step is insertion of isolated gene into suitable vector. Plasmid is isolated from the bacterial cell by treating it with lysozyme to digest the cell wall. and further bacterial cell is subjected to centrifugation to separate the plasmid. So the isolation of plasmid DNA is similar to that of isolation of foreign DNA from the human cell, which we have seen in the first step, isolation of genetic material from the human cell. So these two processes are similar. Then the cut gene of interest from the source DNA, it means the target DNA, and the cut vector are mixed with the DNA ligase, which results in the formation of recombinant DNA. So to the mixture containing vector DNA and the target DNA, when DNA ligase is added, it forms a phosphodiester bond between those two and results in the formation of recombinant DNA. Then insertion of recombinant DNA into the host. The host cell is made competent by subjecting it to chemical treatment. The host cells are exposed to the environment containing recombinant DNA. Then the host cell take up the recombinant DNA through bacterial transformation. So there are so many methods to introduce the recombinant DNA into the host cell. Here we can see first one is micro injection. In this, the recombinant DNA is directly subjected into the nucleus. So this method is suitable for animal cells. Next, ballistic or gene gun method. So this method is suitable for plant cells. In this method, the host cells are collided with high velocity microparticles of gold or tungsten, which are coated with DNA. Then when we collide these two, the host cells and these microparticles coated with the DNA will rush into the host cell. So this is one type of method. It is suitable for plant cells. Next one is disarmed pathogen. In this method, the disarmed pathogen vector is allowed to infect the cell. Then there is a transfer of recombinant DNA into the host. Means the inactive pathogen. So the inactive pathogen vectors are allowed to infect the cell. Then there is a transfer of recombinant DNA into the host. And the last one is bacterial transformation. Selection of transformed host cells. Selectable marker present in the plasmid is used to select the transformed cells. So we know that plasmid have three features. One is selectable marker, origin of replication, and multiple cloning site. So these three features a plasmid must have. So to differentiate transformed cells from other cells, there are two types of screening techniques. So along with the transformed cells, means the bacteria which took up the recombinant DNA, there can be bacteria which did not took up the recombinant DNA. So to select the bacteria which took up the recombinant DNA, we are using these techniques. First one is insertional inactivation of antibiotic resistance gene, and the next one is insertional inactivation of gene coding for a chromogenic substrate. So the gene here is LAGZ gene with the coding sequence of enzyme beta galactosidase. So chromogenic substrate is nothing but the peptides which react with the proteolytic enzymes. They are a group of peptides which react with the proteolytic enzyme and produce a color. So insertional inactivation of antibiotic resistance gene. Ligation of foreign DNA is carried out at a restriction site present in one of the two antibiotic resistance genes. So here we can see there are two antibiotic resistance genes in a plasmid. One is ampicillin resistance and one is tetracycline resistance. So we are adding a foreign gene, nothing but a target DNA, to this tetracycline resistance gene. So this green color is nothing but the target DNA, our gene of interest. So when an experiment is performed to insert a DNA fragment into a vector, two types of vector molecules are formed. Some vector molecules containing target DNA insert. It is nothing but some vector molecules will take up the target DNA and join, but some vector molecules do not take up the DNA, they join themselves. So they contain only vector sequences. Some others will contain only the vector sequences, but some other molecules contain target DNA insert. So two types of vector molecules are formed. Then this mixture of vectors, which when used for transformation into host cells, three types of host cells are formed. So to this mixture, when we add host cells, nothing but bacterial cells, some host cells will receive the recombinant vector, nothing but plasmid having the target DNA, and some other host cells will contain only the vector sequences, nothing but only the vector itself, and some others will not contain any vector, so they will not take any vector. So in the next step, the recombinant plasmids will lose tetracycline resistance due to the insertion of foreign DNA. So here we can see, as we are inserting the foreign DNA at the tetracycline resistance, this gene gets inactivated. This tetracycline resistance gene gets inactivated. So now this plasmid have resistance only against ampicillin. It does not have resistance against tetracycline. So the recombinant plasmids will lose tetracycline resistance due to the insertion of foreign DNA. Non-recombinant cells have both ampicillin and tetracycline resistance, as they have no insertion of foreign DNA. So the cells which took up the only vector sequences, as they have no target DNA insert, they will have both ampicillin and tetracycline resistance. Then the cells with no vector, so the cells which did not took up any vector, they will have no resistance against the antibiotic. And the next one is all the cells. So all these three types of cells, when transferred to the following mediums, nothing but ampicillin medium and tetracycline medium. So when these are transferred to ampicillin containing medium, recombinants will grow in this medium. As they have ampicillin resistance, they will grow. And non-recombinants also grow because they have both ampicillin and tetracycline resistance. And the cells with no vector die because they have no resistance against the antibiotics. And all these cells are then transferred to the tetracycline containing medium. The cells are then grown on tetracycline containing medium. So recombinant cells, as they have the insert, as the tetracycline gene has been inactivated, they will die. They cannot grow on this tetracycline medium. And non-recombinants will grow in this medium. And cells with no vector die. So by this we can select the recombinants. So then we can say that the cells which are growing only on the ampicillin medium are the cells having the recombinant DNA. Then we can collect those cells growing in ampicillin medium. And the next one is selection of recombinants by inactivation of antibiotics is a complicated procedure because they require simultaneous plating on two plates having different antibiotics. So first we have to grow an ampicillin medium and then we have to transfer to the tetracycline medium. So it is very complicated procedure. So they have invented another alternative insertional inactivation, that is nothing but insertional inactivation of gene coding for chromogenic substrate. So we have seen chromogenic substrate is nothing but a group of peptides which react with a proteolytic enzyme and results in the formation of a color. So here we can see this differentiate recombinants from non-recombinants on the basis of their ability to produce color in the presence of a chromogenic substrate. So in this, the target DNA is inserted at the site of lag Z gene, which codes for the enzyme beta-galactosidase in the vector. So when the target DNA is inserted at that site, that lag Z gene will get inactivated. So what happens? This results in the inactivation of the enzyme. So when the cells are placed in the medium containing X-gal, they produce blue and white colored colonies. So here we can see blue colored colonies are nothing but non-recombinants. So how can we say that? As a bacteria does not have an insert, there is no inactivation of enzymes. So blue colored colonies are shown by non-recombinant cells. As the bacteria does not have an insert, there is no inactivation of the enzyme. So the enzyme reacts with the chromogenic substrate and gives blue color. And the next point is white colored colonies are nothing but recombinants. So as these recombinant bacteria have an insert, there is an inactivation of enzyme and the colonies do not produce any color. So from this we can say blue colored colonies are nothing but non-recombinants and white colored colonies are nothing but recombinants. So now we can collect the white colored colonies for further process. So here we can see the molecular cloning process, foreign DNA and plasmid. Both foreign DNA and plasmid are cut with the same restriction enzyme. The restriction site occurs only once in the plasmid in the middle of a gene for an enzyme. So each restriction endonuclease has its unique recognition sequence. So this is the recognition sequence. So this sequence can be seen in the foreign DNA also. The restriction endonuclease will recognize those sequences and cut at that place, and then it results in the formation of sticky ends. And then if we add DNA ligases to this mixture, there is a formation of recombinant DNA. DNA ligase will form a phosphodiester bond between these two, vector DNA and the foreign DNA, and it results in the formation of a recombinant DNA. So this is mixed with a culture of bacteria. Then what happens? There is a formation of three types of cells. Some bacteria will take up the plasmid having a DNA insert, foreign DNA insert, and some bacteria take up the plasmid having no foreign DNA insert, and some bacteria may not take the plasmid at all. So there is a formation of three types of cells. So to select the bacterial cells having the plasmid having a foreign DNA insert, we will undergo two techniques. We'll take up two techniques. One is insertion and activation of antibiotic resistance gene, and another one is insertion and activation of gene coding for a chromogenic substrate. So here we can see blue and white colored colonies in the last picture. So blue colored colonies have plasmids without insert, and white colored colonies have plasmid with a foreign insert. So this is nothing but the process of molecular cloning. And the last step is collection of product. Colony of recombinants is collected and are grown in large quantities using bioreactors. The recombinants are grown in bioreactors by providing optimum conditions like pH, temperature, etc., nutrient medium for achieving the desired product. Now the desired product is subjected to separation and purification, which are collectively referred as downstream processing. So then the product can be undergo some clinical trials. If it is a drug, we have to do the clinical trials and the quality control testing, and then we can go for marketing the product. Thank you.